Welcome to another Destiny 2 podcast brought to you by Aironside Gaming. This is Season 2, Episode 1 of the new Forsaken DLC. I'm your host, Legion09, and I am with Jim Bob, Dustbro, Longwood, Sneaky, Tommy, Profane, and Karush. How's everyone doing today?
Hello.
How is everyone doing
Hello.
today?
That was a very, very energetic intro. Thank you for that, Legion. As always, doing an amazing job.
So can I
Oh,
go back to my normal voice now?
yep. Yeah, you're good to go back. We're just here for like that one thing, and then we're good to go from there. Oh boy, we have a show for you. Man, it's been an awesome time on Destiny 2, and it's good to be back. To my left, I have Mr. Legion, also Mr. Dustbro, who's joining us again. Longwood, you guys probably haven't heard much of Longwood, but he is awesome. We also have, he's really the best. He's the best at, like, being the worst. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely the worst. Yep. And also we have Mr. Sneaky Orange, who is, mind you, he's like 555 right now. What is 552 or so?
Yeah, 552.
I call hacks.
Yep. He's number one in our clan. So, well done, Sneaky Orange, on your light level grind. We also have Mr. Jim Bob coming back from a hiatus. Good to have you back, Mr. Jim Bob.
Good to be back, thank you.
The one, the only, the legendary Profane and Obscene.
Hello.
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 How is everyone doing today? That's how you sound right now.
I'm just glad that I didn't miss anyone. Like, as we were talking, I'm like, oh, I hope I don't miss anyone as I'm talking. Like, that would be horrible.
Well,
Yeah.
Oh, Tommy, I did miss Tommy. No.
He did. Oh, he did.
Oh.
I was
Wait,
waiting
that's
for
why
it.
he's laughing.
Good,
That's
that's
why
right.
he's
Good, that's
laughing.
right. Do it.
Sorry,
Noise,
Tommy.
noise.
Last but certainly not least, Mr. Tommy Guns. Good to have you
going on,
back
everyone?
on the show, Mr. Tom.
Everyone clap.
And we already have a on the video as well. I'm guessing that's probably Gara saying, hey, what's up? So, yeah, it's good to be back, boys. It's good to be back. Gara says, don't talk bad about my admin. He has no clue that Long has joined Iron-Tide Legacy. So, sorry about that, Gara. Crazy awesome
no clue.
says Longwood, I'm your #1 fan.
Ooh.
Which is wow. Yep. Yeah, it's just one fan. That's it. The entire universe.
That's all you need.
How does it feel?
Is it battery powered or?
Oh man.
God.
It's a quality fan, that's what's important. It's quality.
College fan.
Gara on the chat, Gara of the Red Sand says, Sneaky Orange, you know what to do. And yes, he does. He is, he knows what to do and get those levels. The Prime Ingram glitch. Yep, that's been going on. So, topics for today, really quickly, I'm going to go over and then we'll start going. So the topics for tonight's episode is going to be the story campaign, the continued campaign after the raid completion, which was done by Clan Redeem. Congratulations to Clan Redeem for finishing the raid in 18 hours. Now that is the longest first raid clear ever since Atheon at 17 hours.
We could have done it faster.
Yep. And they took their time for sure.
I don't know about you, but I watched part of that.
I'm sorry, you know, I'm a
No
little
way.
sick right now, so you might hear some few things, so don't believe that.
What were you saying, Tommy? You watched her stream?
I watched this. I watched the ending of the Riven fight, and it was very, very intense, and honestly, confusing as any raid I think I've ever
Oh god,
watched.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
I was watching it too.
rough.
Extremely
Yeah,
confusing.
definitely rough. But
So after that, we're going to jump into lore, triumphs, PvP, Gambit, raid, power grind, and overall thoughts. And we're all going to give a score to this DLC, comparing it to the previous 4 or 5 DLCs that we've had. Um, the reason why I say 4 or 5 is because I don't count Warmind and the other garbage ones, who shall not be named. Um, yeah. So we'll go ahead and start talking about the story campaign for the DLC. It's about 68 hours long. Um, what were your thoughts, Thusper? I know me and you, we both did the campaign together, and you were unsure of whether you should get the game or not. How did it compare to your expectations, and were you surprised at all about the campaign?
Well, first of all, it's the first DLC that I've played that had a story I could actually get captivated with. All the other stories in the DLCs, it seemed like something to blow over really quickly, but these are really in-depth, fun characters to get to know. Like, all the bosses are really fun. They have unique traits that make them really interesting. And, of course, the bow and arrow adds, like, a whole new depth that I really love that gets me into trying to get all the headshots again. It's just, I'm having a lot of fun with it so far. I'm not done with it, but I'm enjoying it and look forward to finishing it.
Yeah, it was definitely different in comparison to Curse of Osiris and Warmind, and even the other DLCs that come out before it, like Iron Banner, not Iron Banner, my bad, the other DLCs from year 1 and year 2 and year 3 of Destiny 1. Definitely a different tone in general. I'm gonna go over to Mr. Jimba. What were your overall thoughts in regards to the campaign and the overall vibe of the campaign?
Yeah, well, the tone is completely different. I absolutely agree. It's a lot darker. I mean, even the first time you go into the tower after completing the campaign, I won't give anything away, uh, but just the music, the subtle little piano and dark undertones you hear. I mean, it's somber. It feels like you literally just went through something really traumatic and important. So just even those little touches like that really help with the tone being a little bit darker. As for overall gameplay and the bosses, I mean, like you touched on, they are fun. They're interesting, and very unique. So overall, I really enjoyed it. Big fan of this DLC.
Yeah, definitely a more darker theme to it. And I'm gonna go to Mr. Tommy. Tommy, if you've noticed, but Destiny 2 in general, it had more of a PG-13, more like a goofy, funny vibe to it. Do you think this more Western theme is more appealing to both the younger audiences and also the more mature players who play Destiny 2?
Well, if you notice, everybody who's here's been playing Destiny for a little while now, even through a little bit of a rougher patch, but there's a lot more people on, and I think it's gonna stay that way. So, I think what they did going a little darker is definitely gonna be a help for it. It still holds the PG-13 levels, but there's a lot more darkness to it. A lot more hidden things that I think intrigue a ton of people. The amount of hidden things in these places is out of this world. It's definitely by far the biggest in depth of like hidden little mysteries, things that you see but you just can't reach yet, things that you can touch but you don't know what they do yet. It's just it keeps you extremely interested in wanting to continue to play this game more and more and see what happens. I mean, just the changing alone of once the raid was complete, like I mean, that's something Destiny and I don't really know many games in general have really done. And man, I'm not gonna lie, it really keeps me excited because I'm definitely a Destiny lover, and I've always loved the concept of the game ever since in coming out right away, like beta wise and everything. I was always into the concept of it. Uh, I think they really hit it on the head with this Forsaken.
Yeah, definitely. One of the questions asked by one of our viewers by the name of Travis, he asked, do you think Kate 6 will come back as Kate 7? I want to ask that from Longwood. What is your thoughts in regards to an EXO being reprogrammed into a new EXO with a different number? And then also, yeah. Also, I was going to ask Profane. Usually, with the DLCs that come out with Destiny in general, whether it's Destiny 1 or Destiny 2, there is always more questions asked than answers given. Do you feel like this DLC was the opposite and it actually answered a lot of questions in regards to different characters and with the addition of lore tabs and triumphs, whether that actually is a better way to go when it comes to answering questions rather than, creating new ones?
I mean, I think it answered the questions by opening up new questions for us. Um, yeah, I love the lore tab. I love the fact that we can get that story behind the story again, because like Destiny 1 had that a little bit with like the ghosts that you would retrieve, and that was really an exciting thing for me because I love finding them and reading that lore. And I'm somebody that would always visit like the Ishtar Collective's website and look into like the story behind different characters. But so far, at least in this DLC, they're definitely putting the effort into keeping us in the know, and I really like that, especially with like the lore tabs on the weapons, the gear, which they've had that since the start of Destiny 2, but I feel like they're definitely expanding upon it, but they're definitely opening up more questions for us, like what's the deal with Riven, where's Marisov, just for two examples right there.
True. It seems that long with your muted, so if you can go to your party settings and put your settings to allow always for your voice to be shared, that'll be great. Yeah, that is. Yeah, the campaign was really engaging. When I was playing with Dust Pro, he was surprised of how much emotion I showed, even after a second playthrough when it came to Cade's. What
It
happened
was
to
real.
Cade, and yeah. Whereas with the previous like DLCs that me and have played, it was more like let's just run through it and get it done, because it was very very, I don't know, cliche, like really bad jokes in there. It didn't feel like a proper campaign. Whereas this one did feel like a really good campaign. Next topic, I'm going to move over to um, what happened after the first raid completion. As mentioned, Clan Redeem managed to finish the first raid within 18 hours, which is a very long raid. Definitely one of the most difficult raids that anyone's encountered, especially because of the light level. There was new areas added, new items added, and also there was quest lines that were added and strikes. I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Mr. Sneaky. And Sneaky, can you tell us a few things about the um, changes that were made after the first raid completion?
Well, the first thing that you immediately noticed after the raid completion was the Dreaming City. After the raid was completed, the Dreaming City changed dramatically. That basically, the completion of the raid screwed the thing up. It started becoming taken. There's corruption everywhere. There's new enemies starting to come into the Dreaming City. So now we have Hive, whereas we had Scorn beforehand. It's added more activities within the Dreaming City. I mean, Petra's now moving around the place. Just things like that. There's loads of small little changes that really make it feel like what happened in the raid has impacted on the universe.
True. Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely one of the things. And there was also an addition of multiple plates with different symbols that were in the raid added to different planets as well that you can see. It was really cool. I think that's definitely an evolution that we've never seen before happen in the Destiny universe. It was definitely interesting to see. Anyone have any thoughts in regards to the campaign that you'd like to add?
I mean, if you have the next 4 hours free, but
Yeah, right. There's so much to this campaign that I'm really enjoyed. And I mean, the the biggest bulk I've noticed everybody seems to be talking about here is actually the Dreaming City part, but we're almost misguiding the huge emotional rush and the Barons. I mean, even the Barons were put together well.
Right.
Different. I mean, they weren't exactly an extremely difficult challenge. I don't think they were meant to be, but they were also, every single one of them was different. Every single one of them was, they had some sort of special thing to them. They had something just new and interesting, and exciting. You know what I mean? It's this.
Right. They weren't just generic.
They weren't just a generic redo of a big giant ogre or a big giant fallen captain, or you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it wasn't
Like
a giant fallen.
Yes, like where you know Destiny has had that issue, and it's not really been an issue because no one really knew it was an issue. It was never like, oh, we didn't like this boss because it looked the same. But realistically, I mean, that's what it really was. I mean, cool, like this guy, your end boss, the raid boss, or happened to be the end guy that you face, whatever the campaign was, always was like, okay, yeah, he was different looking, but he was generic in the generalization of what he actually was. If he was Hive, he was probably a knight, or he was an ogre, or he was a witch. There was only 3 different ways of going about it. Adding the scorn and the way they added the scorn, and that there's several different types of scorn, and each boss was somewhat different. And I mean, not even somewhat. They were all totally different, realistically. They all had their own little niche to it. They all had their own little backstory to it, and I mean, with the lore mixed with it, and it's just, they did really well with even just the campaign part in general, not even mentioning the Dreaming City, which I think is above even that. But as my personal take on the campaign part.
And yeah, I'm briefly also going to go over the lore of the game a little bit as well. I don't know if you guys have watched. Shout out to My Name is By, Mylan Games, Darkside Royalty. They have been busy creating content because of the amount of lore that's been added to the game, whether it's within the Triumphs page or the lore tabs. The lore community right now is just thriving, and they're having a really good time. There's so many different things in there that you wouldn't even think, you know, that would actually be a part of the story. It's absolutely insane. It's back to basically being, you know, the Taken King campaign that we all love.
Like the Gimmer
so
More
much.
cards or whatever.
Yeah, the Grimoire cards were definitely something that at first people weren't sure how they felt about it because it was off the game, but afterwards it was loved. That
But when they went away, they're like, well, where's our lore?
yeah, definitely. Yeah, so that also covers the Triumphs. That's definitely something that I noticed everyone is a little bit competitive. I know for Fanes at 23,000, asking everyone, hey, what are you at? Like, everyone else is like, oh, I'm at 21. Oh, you suck, you know, stuff like that. But also, the next topic is going to be PvP, and boy, has PvP changed. At first, I wasn't sure how I felt about it, but now I kind of like it. So, I'm going to go to Jim Bob, because this is just his topic of discussion. So, Jim Bob, tell me all about it. Meta changes to the gear, the weapons, the random rolls, the addition of bows. Tell us a little bit about competitive and anything that you really want to talk when it comes to competitive and
Yeah.
PvP.
Well, first, let's head on. Let's try and talk about meta, because currently there is no real meta. I mean, hand cannons and pulse rifles are definitely prevalent, but as for like a new graviton lance, a new vigilant swing, I don't see one in particular weapon that's really a stronghold on the Crucible right now, which is good because everyone's still trying to figure out, you know, what the best role is, and that's what's fun too, is because God rolls are back. And there's a very big difference between good rolls and God rolls. I mean, everybody gets excited by something, by a certain roll, but then maybe it has like auto-loading holster in there too with kill clip. That is a good roll. That is not a God roll. You want complete synergy with everything. You want all the perks to work in line. That's why a very well-known perk, Outlaw and Kill Clip, are very prevalent because they have synergy. You know, they work well together. But as for weapons, it seems like, if I was to guess, I think pulse rifles are really going to kind of, once people start getting the rolls they want on pulse rifles, that's going to be the one to go for.
Edge Transit.
Edge Transit.
Can we talk? Yeah,
You
can we
are
just talk
lucky
about
enough
the
to get
number
that
one
roll.
PvP weapon?
Yeah. if you were lucky enough to get Edge Transit, I mean, consider yourself some of the
I
most
mean,
lucky
you can
Destiny
literally
players.
sell that on eBay.
Yeah, and you should. And you should.
You should.
Let's see. You also get
def-
competitive back, but with radar, which is interesting. Definitely adds a new dynamic to it. Makes it a little. I like it. I like having radar. I always do. I think it'd be cool if trials stayed without radar and competitive kept the radar. But I mean, we don't know what's gonna happen with trials.
Which starts this week, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it is really good to have radar back in competitive, and the fact that the amount of players that are playing competitive is such a high amount compared to before. So you're not coming against a sweaty group of stack of 4 who are carrying one, doing paid carries and everything like that. It's really good to be able to actually go against some average players and not have to take it super seriously the whole time. It's been really good, and the addition of Gambit has been amazing as well. It's just such a different game, but it feels familiar. I'm going to leave in what are your thoughts in regards to Gambit? I know you've been playing a little bit of Gambit, so tell us a little bit about your experience with it, and also setup sites, strategies that you have encountered that are really good to use.
Me?
Yeah, Lucian, you can go ahead.
Okay, yeah. Okay. So Gambit is fun. It is very, very fun when you have a good team with you. Because there have been games where when you play with blueberries, sometimes you get a good team of blueberries and then you're rocking it, and then you get a bad team of blueberries and you suck and you lose 2 games in a row and you lose everything, or you get booted out because of error code guitar. That's besides the point. um, Gambit is a different take on Crucible. Adds the best of PvE with the best of PvP, competing against the other team and trying to kill a boss at the end. You collect modes, you do everything. It's just like a strike. It's literally a glorified strike. But it's against your time. It's against the other people. You got invasions. It's just so many elements that you gotta think about. Like, there's so many things going on, and not one strategy will give you the win. There are so many ways of winning. One thing that I've noticed, like as setups goes, is snipers are gods because any yellow bar enemy will be one shot by them, especially turrets if you get Cabal. Pulse rifles are very good. My take is the go figure, and bows with explosive head and rampage, god tier. And the one I use is subtle calamity. Very good. If you got it, use it. It is very good, and it can take out multiple enemies at once. Now, for my last one for heavy, I recommend either using, Legend of Acreus for, the high DPS, or you can use a rocket launcher, and my preferred one right now, since I got yesterday, is the two-tailed fox, which shoots out a suppression and a damage over time rocket. This thing works wonders against the Prime Evil, because it suppresses their abilities, and if I have any captains around, suppresses them as well, and then damage over time. It's amazing. It is amazing.
Yep. With that being said, we're gonna move over to basically a little bit about the raid, and I'm gonna talk with Sneaky and his overall thoughts of the raid, and then we're gonna head over to our overall thoughts and give out a score, what we find for this. When it comes to raid, there are multiple encounters. You have the Cali, which is now you can actually glitch into the area and go past it and actually get the chest that's there. And we put a guide out that Profane did. Make sure to go ahead and check that out as well. Then you go to Shirochi and the Spire Keeper. You have the Vault, and then Riven. Sneaky, what were your thoughts in regards to the the mechanics of the raid so far that you've encountered? How do they compare to the other DLC raids? Do you feel like there's anyone that like is very similar to, or?
Um, Personally, I feel this raid's the most challenging and the most rewarding raid yet. It has such high drops at the end of encounters and things that really means it's worthwhile putting the time in. Uh, if I was to describe it in comparison to other raids, I would say it's a little bit of everything. It's taken mechanics from Callus, it's taken mechanics from Oryx, it's taken mechanics from even Crota, Vault of Glass, Eater of Worlds. It takes part of everything and combines it into one extraordinary experience. Talking of Kali, that is by far the easiest encounter of the raid, but still far more challenging than things we've seen before.
Even with the glitch with no ads, it felt like we had a hard time finishing the first encounter considering it was glitched as well. Then again, light
Yeah.
level has such a big role to play, and that brings
That's
us
another
over
thing.
to the power grind. Profane, I'm gonna move over to you in regards to the power grind. What do you think about the massive amounts of different ways in which you can obtain light and how that actually impacts your gameplay as well?
I like the balance. I actually love the balance. Prior to this DLC, it felt like in order to level up, you just had to grind one particular thing. You know, you had to do Nightfall, but then you were limited. You could only get to a couple of points higher every week, and then you just had to wait, and then just deal with getting all kinds of crappy gear and gear that you were literally just going to scrap because there were no random rolls. But now, no matter what you're doing, whether you're doing Gambit or you're doing Crucible or you're doing Strikes, you have that chance of the Prime Ingrams, you have the low chance of exotics, you have all of these various quests and missions and objectives that are going to yield, good gear, and it makes the game enjoyable, and it just reiterates that fact that there's a reason to do anything, no matter what you're doing. There's just a reason to play.
Yeah,
So
I
I
like
have
the
a thing
reintroduction
to
of
add.
bounties.
Yeah, the bountification, as I call it, of the game rather than the token economy is definitely a welcome change.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I
Eververse
have
especially. Eververse especially. I'm happy about that.
so Profane. So would you say that it's just a lot easier leveling up now than it was, say, in
I'd say the
what was that
opposite,
last mission
personally.
called?
I would say it's easier only,
mind.
and then I'll pass it to Tommy, only because I remember Destiny 1, and I remember sitting at 334 for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks,
yeah.
and doing the raid every week, 3 times a week, 4 times a week, and never getting that one boot piece that I needed. But now the system they have where essentially your lowest item is more than likely going to be what you get. I feel like it definitely is beneficial, but we definitely have a balance that we need to fix, or Bungie needs to fix, with the exotic and prime Ingram drop rates, to where we don't have to cheese it in order to get them.
Honestly, my personal opinion on the exotics, the drop rates suck, and they do. I 100% agree there, but personally, I don't think exotics are supposed to drop so often. Like, these new exotics, they
Right.
feel exotic. They feel extremely exotic because of the fact that you don't see many people with them. When you get one, the excitement level is probably going to be through the roof. I haven't even personally got one yet. Like, I
me
That
literally
neither.
is
have,
true. That is
other
very
than Lord
true.
of Wolves. Lord of Wolves is the only thing I've gotten dropped for me. That's the only thing. And, I don't even use that. Just because I
Skyburner's
have better
Oath.
options. And, well,
Skyburner's
Skyburner's Oath,
Oath.
yeah.
And
I think say he's got
Edge
like 4
Transit.
sky so it's just
Well,
it's just
It's
but
ridiculous,
I do
man.
see where, like, it does get a little frustrating when you're continuously trying and you're playing every day like a lot of us do, and you're grinding hour upon hour and to not get anything. maybe if there was a way of something you can do that had a higher drop rate or something that like is extremely hard. So at least
Like
there's a
3 coins.
a higher chance for you to get one compared to where now it's just kind of like really, really RNG.
Well, you would have to just do your weekly bounties. I mean, if you do those, you have a higher drop chances. I mean, it's not by much, but it's something.
Yeah, I don't really know how they could really perfectly intertwine a nice drop rate, but I don't mind it so much of them lowering it because it really did I mean, it wasn't hard to collect before after Warmind drop and everything. It really wasn't hard to collect the exotics you needed to collect.
Well,
No, it wasn't like an extremely difficult thing. Once they had faded Ingrams, so basically, I mean, once you got everything, and as long as it wasn't a quest exotic,
Yeah.
you were gonna get that dropped
I
eventually.
never purposely tried to get exotics, and I got all of them before this DLC.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
with the
DLC is
exception of
certainly-
Whisper of the Worm, that was the one that I had to go out of my way to get.
Yep.
was
Yes,
for the
it's certainly nerfed
such
exotics.
a pain to get. The jumping puzzle is oh, what's
What's
the
my
word I'm looking
nemesis?
for?
Ridiculous for that.
It's trash. It's trash.
So, with that being said, we're gonna move out to the last part of the podcast, and I'm gonna start with Jim Bob. What was your overall thoughts on the DLC in general? How much do you like it? What parts of it do you like and not like? And if you can give us a score out of 1 to 10, what would that score be?
Sure. Well, the game obviously was very hyped up. They, slowly drip fed us little bits of content, which was nice. But I was a little worried that they'd be showing us everything. They did it. They delivered on their fact of keeping things new and fresh and new things to find and explore, which I do. I like. Things that I don't like. This should have happened a year ago. This should have happened,
Oh,
in September of last year. This is the way the game probably should have been dropped. But we can't go back. We can't change the past. It's just a dark part of our past. If I had to give a score, I'm gonna go with a solid 8.5, and I'd go with a 9 if it was delivered to us a year ago. And that's the reason I'm going with 8.5.
That's a good fair point. I'm gonna move over to Longwood. What are your overall thoughts? And if you can give us a score from 1 to 10.
I am very happy with this DLC. If it wouldn't have been as good as it is, I think that Destiny as a whole would be in jeopardy. I truly do. I just hope that they learn from this in Destiny 3, and I would say that I would probably give it a solid 9.
Wow, well said. Yeah, Bungie, if you are watching this podcast or listening to it, please don't, mess it up.
Right.
Don't hit the reset button. We're going.
I'll take more
right
edge
there.
transits if you do
Yeah,
that, please.
You have to.
Can we just call it the
yeah.
God Transit?
Yeah, Edge Transit is definitely the reason why this game is so successful right now.
It's gotta be the
success
Edge
factor.
Transit.
It's Edge
Yeah,
Transit.
definitely.
Yeah,
I
I
don't know if
just
anybody's
wanted to-
tried that thing in PvP yet, but jeez, man. Whew.
I
It's
just
a hard
wanted to
going
touch
thing
in real quick with when I was muted when we were talking about Cage 6, because I was muted. And I just wanted to say that if he does come back, it would be kind of sad, but, we're all hopeful that he comes back as Cage 7, but it would be weird, too, at the same time.
Yep. Yeah, I'm gonna move on to Legion. Legion, go ahead.
Alright, so first of all, I want to give a big shout out to Tommy for buying me the DLC. Thank you, man.
Oh yeah, no problem, brother.
Woohoo!
He saw
Thanks.
that.
Tommy, where's my DLC, bro? Where's my DLC?
DLC,
He and Legion
bro.
worked something out.
Oh,
Yeah.
It was I scratched
Yeah,
his
but,
back, he scratched
mutual.
mine. Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's not like I don't know Legion. Me and Legion have played several times. It's definitely glad I got to get it to him quicker, so that he could get playing this thing. Cause it's definitely
You
worth
heard it on Ironside Gaming first, so if you get to know Tommy, you'll get free DLCs. So
You play with him a couple times, you're golden.
Yep.
But like the game, like this DLC is definitely what we needed, and I'm gonna agree with what was said past. We definitely needed this last year, but you know, you can't cry over spilled milk, right? You can't. So, but
It's a year old
like
again.
when I'm gonna give it an 8 right now because there's still stuff that we haven't found yet because you know the prestige raid hasn't come out yet. There's probably new strikes after that, new quests because there's so much content. And for the main story, I feel like when I played it with Tommy and with I forgot the other guy that I played with, either Longwood, I don't know who it was, but it was fun in the beginning, and then I did it all by myself, and it felt like a real revenge quest, and
Yeah.
we finally get to talk. That's what I'm hyped about. We finally get to
Right.
Two sentences. Two sentences.
we
With
need a
that being
shirt.
said,
We need a shirt that says "Deal."
yeah. Well, speaking of shirts, we actually have a podcast shirt that I'm going to link below. So make sure you check that out. It's got all of your favorite hosts, basically logos on the back. You got the Airtight logo on the front. It's very basic and simple, and a very good pricing as well. We managed to get a deal with Represent.com and make sure that we give out faster shipping as well. I'm going to move over to Dustbro. With Dustbro, so far that you've played, what were your overall thoughts? And if you were to score it based on your experience so far, what would that number be?
It is hard for me to score it because I haven't finished it yet. But what I can really say is, for the more casual player who's really just looking for a great story, this is your time to step in because it's the first time I've really had a story in Destiny that I'm really behind. That's a huge reason on its own to get into it.
Yep. We'll leave it as a possible future ranking from Dustbro. So whenever he does rank the game, we'll let everyone know. And being said, I'm going to move on to Profane. Profane, what have your thoughts been so far?
I'm kind of like in the same boat for some of the other guys. This should have been out a year ago, and in my mind, this is now Destiny 2. Like what happened in Warmind, outside of like some of the really cool weapons that we got back, this is the Destiny 2 that I expected. This is the Destiny 2 that I dropped a lot of money for. This was like a make or break for Bungie, and I think that they finally found that bridge to be able to make an actual full-out story instead of just like a little comic book story. Like they're kind of entering in kind of like an MCU type deal. They're finally developing a story and developing a path and a sense of direction, and I love it. I'm looking really forward to everything that comes down the line. I can't wait for the additional missions, the Queen's Court, and just everything else that this game is going to bring to us. And I really hope that it lasts a while. I hope Destiny 3 is years down the road because I want to enjoy Destiny 2 now. So my rating, aside from the fact of drop rates and stuff like that, which are going to be adjusted at different time periods, I would straight out give it a 9.5 for rating. Only missing that half because it should have been out a year ago.
Yeah, well said. And I believe Sneaky is the only one left, so Sneaky, go ahead. What are your thoughts?
I think they've found the perfect balance.
I keep forgetting about Tommy. Sorry, Tommy. I'm sorry,
Go ahead,
Tommy.
Sneaky. Go ahead, Sneaky. You're fine, brother.
7 other people.
Your feelings hurt.
Last but not
Moment of
least.
silence for Tommy.
Tommy, is it? Do you not have the Edge Transit? Is that why you're getting skipped?
I think that's what it is.
No.
Yeah, he doesn't have transit. That's why.
Yeah. But I think they found the perfect balance light level wise. The grind is real, but it's not that bad to where you're stuck at one constant progression like D1 originally was. The story is amazing. I think since Taken King, they've done a great job developing a story in the Destiny universe. The raids are just getting better and better. They're getting to become a real experience that requires dedication and coordination between teams. Um, I can't think of anything they've done wrong with the DLC. They've got perfect secrets and exotic quests. Still don't fully know how to get the Wish Ender, which is something I'm looking forward to. I think they've done a great job. And if I was to rate this out of 10, I'd probably give it a 10.
Oh wow!
Ooh.
Wow.
Wow, we
Ooh,
have a
for
perfect
Mr.
10.
Salty Pants.
Game, huh?
Even though you sound a little disappointed.
Yeah.
That's just
This is
because
my
he hasn't
normal.
got an edge transit.
Yeah.
He needs
This
a
is
new,
me
he needs a
normal.
new edge transit.
Yeah, I
That
just got
was
a poor roll on my
controversial.
edge transit.
Tommy, what do you have to say about the 10 out of 10?
Alright, if I'm ranking this thing out of 10, it's real hard to rank it out of 10 because, I mean, what everybody is saying here, I've noticed a trend is that, well, it should have got it a year ago, and I don't disagree. I seriously don't. I actually 100% agree. But when I'm rating a game, I'm kind of looking more at what is here and now rather than what has happened. Um, I'm personally going to give it a 9.8, and that's because I think they just got a lot right. I mean, don't get me wrong, I do agree with everybody saying that they probably should have had this a long time ago, but like this is the kind of story, the kind of gameplay, the kind of balance within the universe of Destiny that I was kind of hoping for the minute I seen it as a trailer when it was first coming out. Um,
Mhm.
it just has so much potential, and I think this between the we didn't even really talk too much about triumphs, but the triumphs thing is, I mean, that's the story of Destiny. I mean, and it's a lot more elaborate than what people really realize. I mean, you could piece together what happens before it happens if you read the lore. Um,
Hmm.
a lot. Again, a 9.8 is where I'm going, and the reason why I'm not giving it a 10 is because there is issues that's got to get fixed, and there's a couple things here and there that aren't perfect, but other than that, it's solid. It's everything I was hoping for when I got into Destiny to begin with, and it's got its story. The PvP is fluid again. Um, it's just there's so much to do. I mean, there's so much to do, and that's why I'm giving that 9.8 score. Couldn't give it a 10 because there is a couple things, like I said, there is a couple here things balance wise and a couple different things here and there they could have probably tweaked a little better, but I'm not disappointed. I'm really impressed in Bungie for this DLC, and I'm glad they went the way they did and they started to listen, and I think that had a gigantic play in why this game I think is going to work, and I think it's going to work for a while, and I'm really hoping that these next couple DLCs that come afterwards are just as good, if not better.
Yeah,
That's my take.
very well said. I personally gonna go with a 9 out of 10. Um, just the couple things that for me that could have given it a 10 would be the fact that there is just so many glitches going on. I've never seen a game come out with this many glitches, whether it's the raid or issues that came forward. That's something that I feel like they should have predicted a little bit better, considering they did hire a tester with the name of Holtzman from the Destiny Community Podcast. I mean, he's been playing the game for thousands of hours. Something that people discovered within the few hours that the game went live. The other thing that I have thought it could have been done better was the addition of the milestones. I feel like they're the previous way that you could see the milestones itself, it was a little bit more convenient for me. The fact that now I have to spend an entire day during the reset to get everything done, I feel like it's a little too grind for me. There could have been a little bit more of a balance there. Um, PvP again, I don't know if the ammo economy and the new slot changes are quite there yet. So that's something that they need to really work on when it comes to getting shotgun every 10 seconds, and the spawns need a little bit more of a fixing. The storyline was amazing. I'm very thrilled. There's still the few unanswered questions that I wish that was answered. Darkness, Nazarick, and all of that good stuff. But yeah, overall, I think the game is just amazing. The storyline was perfect. The gameplay is amazing. The addition of those triumphs, collections, random rolls, armor perks, Gambit has been great.
They
So
really need to work
so
on
good.
that, the chance of getting edge transit. If they don't increase that, it's probably going to
Yeah,
wreck the
it's
game.
rare. I think Edge Transit is just one of the rarest guns in the game, and that is not fair to.
Yeah, it's definitely
they don't
going
have
to be
it.
a game
Yeah.
breaker.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely a game breaker.
Without that, I don't know how you're gonna kill Raven.
You
Yeah.
can't. Without Edge Transit, I mean, good luck.
I mean, everybody
There's
has to
no
have it.
DPS.
Good luck even beating this game without
Attempting
Edge Transit.
Yeah.
No, Edge Transit is the new Gallahorn. On the LFG, it's
It
gonna
is.
say must
Yeah.
have Edge
It
Transit.
doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter what the role is. The role is actually so
No,
relevant because
that's-
the gun's base stats are so great
So
that
OP,
it doesn't even matter what the role is.
basically.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts that anyone wants to add before we go ahead and
I
say our farewells?
I do.
I love Destiny.
I love you.
So-
Love it.
Edge Transit.
Love Edge
Look,
Transit.
for the people that are watching and have been debating on getting Destiny, it's free right now for PS Plus members.
Ooh.
And I've recently gone to Walmart and they have the Legendary Edition, which comes with Destiny 2, the DLCs, Forsaken, all for $60. That is a
That's really
steal.
good deal.
We've spent over
Considering the
$200.
Forsaken is $40 itself. Yeah, definitely.
Pay
Well,
$40 for the first Destiny 2, which is basically a crappy beta.
Like, dude, if you need to know, the time is now. Just get the
It is.
thing.
Definitely the
Get
time
in there,
is
man.
now.
It's free. Check the
It's well worth
new
it.
sandbox they have
If
out.
you like
Give it a
Destiny
whirl.
1, you'll
You don't
like
need to
it.
play Forsaken right away, and if you like it, then spend the money on it. If you don't, you
There you
don't.
go.
But give this thing a try again. And this isn't coming from some. I mean, this is coming from someone that's played it all the time, but this is not coming from somebody who's also understood that it's really not for everybody. So
Right.
just give it a try. It's free, so you're not really losing out. If you don't like it, delete it. If you do like it, maybe buy the DLC. Join the clan.
But just saying, if you do download it, you have a higher chance of getting that epic God roll gun. I'm just saying.
That
Right.
epic Edge Transit.
Edge Transit.
Edge
exactly.
Transit. God
Yeah,
Transit.
baby. I wonder how many people are going to Google Edge Transit.
There's one guy listening right now thinking he's the luckiest son of a bitch out there.
Yes, he's getting down low on the transit
He's like, I
action.
have this thing.
He's like, I just
Nine
looked at
I'll be sure
On
to
that
publish a video
bombshell,
of
we're
how to
going
get
to go
it.
ahead. Oh yeah, definitely. Gonna go ahead and say thank you to everyone for joining us. Mr. Profane, the Tommy Guns, Dust Pro, Jim Bob, Legion, and Sneaky, and Longwood. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you for everyone who joined us on the comments section as well, and whoever watched the video. I hope you guys enjoy our podcast. This is our season 2, so episode 1. We did 25 episodes for season 1, year 1 of Destiny, and there's going to be hopefully 25 to maybe 30, 35 episodes for season 2 of our podcast series. We have a lot going on, and hopefully you guys can join us on the Aaron train that's about to hit. And also, make sure you go ahead and check our Discord channel. We're always there trying to help people out. So if you are having a hard time finding groups to play with, we're always there. We're always looking for new members to join in and help out. We also have a Facebook page, Twitch channel. So if that's something that you are interested in, we can go ahead and post the links there. And thanks again for joining. And that's me saying goodbye.
Later.
See you later.
Edge Transit for the win.
Yeah.
Okay.